Hello and welcome to the first development update for the mod Red Liberty. Today we're going to be talking about the two most recent teasers, namely those of the Russian state and the Russian Soviet Republic. Here we have the overview for the Russian state teaser. As you can see, it's an interesting one. I believe one of our more nicely put together teasers in the last little while. But let's start with number one, the leader of the Russian state, Alexander Kolchak, the reluctant dictator. Now, in our timeline, Alexander Kolchak was the supreme leader or ruler of the Russian faction, or the White faction, during the Russian Civil War. In our timeline, the Russian Civil War never had a proper end, and the two sides, both the communist and the White forces, have a split border along the Ural Mountains, in which frequent skirmishes result in border conflicts and so on and so forth. But the two states still exist as independent functions. So number two, we have the ideology of the Russian state, which is autocratic despotism. This is sort of a catch-all ideology for warlord states or single leaders with an absolute amount of power. And here, I'm going to butcher the Russian pronunciation, but we have the Kolchakovskaya Kilka, which I believe translates to the Kolchak clique or something along those lines. You'll have to excuse my butchering. I am not the Russian lead dev. So after that, we have the national spirits of the Russian state. We have four here with beautiful icons made by our head graphics man, Weiss. So number one, we'll start from the top left hand and move right and down. We have the eternal transition. Now, the eternal transition hurts the political power and the stability of the Russian state while giving a good amount of recruitable population factor. This one right here basically represents how the Russian state is a regency state without a monarch. Alexander Kolchak stands as the regent without a monarch to take over after him, similar to, say, Miklos Horthy in Hungary. The Civil War has never ended, and at any day, the commanders on the front lines might very well end up pushing against the Reds. We'll have to see. Maybe you'll be the one to make the order yourself. And then number two here, we have Crippling Debt, which I believe most of us will agree makes a little bit of sense. The Russian state required a good amount of funding from the Entente powers from the First World War, and they have very little ways of actually paying it back. So this crippling debt has very much hurt the Russian state's economy and industrial base, especially considering it sits in the Siberian wastes. There's not too much they can do in terms of economy to pay it back overall. After that, we have Alone in the Cold, which is a little sad. We can see little sad Kolchak in the ice there. This hurts the division organization, stability, and production efficiency cap of the nation. And this sort of represents how, really, as time went on, Kolchak's support, both from other powers or even those within the Russian state, no longer supported the war. Nobody really wants to lose lives on something that seems to be a slaughterhouse Ural Mountains. Their men are going to die over something that they don't think can be won anytime soon. And then the final one we have here is the New Year's Strike, which is a bit of a storyline national spirit. Very soon before the start of the mod itself, there was a big strike throughout the Russian state by workers and the lower classes that have decided they're no longer going to work because of the awful pay, awful hours, and just incredibly dangerous conditions of their employment. And so this has really poorly hurt or poorly affected the factory output of the Russian state. So the Russian player playing the Russian state will have to maneuver themselves to ensure that they can get rid of all these negative bonuses and see if they can reestablish themselves as a modern state, something that Russia will be proud of. And secondly, here we have the Russian Soviet Republic, which is the alternative and exact opposite of the Russian state, in the sense of it is our communist, far-left Soviet Russia. As you can see here, it is led by Nikolai Bukharin with the authoritarian socialist ideology. Here's the description of Nikolai Bukharin, written by our wonderful writers. So you can take a look at that and see exactly how he came to power. And then after that, you'll see in the right-hand side there, the Congress of Soviets, which is a mechanic we're currently working on to better represent the power struggles and infighting within the Soviet Union, or currently the Russian Soviet Republic, between factions such as the industrialists, the technocrats, and the libertarians. Each of these factions will have their own paths and their own ways of influencing the nation towards what they believe the true socialist utopia would look like. So, following that, we'll move on to the national spirits. So we will start here with the home of the revolution. As you can see here, this national spirit grants a bonus to subversive activities, volunteers, and ideological drift defense. This represents the fact that the Russian Soviet Republic is the first communist state of its type. It is the home of the revolution. And it will be very, very hard for the reactionary bourgeoisie oppressors to knock the revolution down. It is something that they simply cannot stand for, and the player who takes hold of this nation will certainly actively work against. Next, we have political turmoil. And as you can see here, the political turmoil national spirit hurts your political power, your economy, and your stability, all because of what is effectively failings within the government to actually make decisions. This national spirit represents the failure of the Soviet bureaucracy to actually push forward the reforms and deals that they've proposed in the Congress of Soviets. It's nothing necessarily wrong with Lenin's theories, but rather that they're being poorly implemented in this wartime republic. Next, we have the new economic policy, an extremely unpopular economic policy brought forward by Bukharin and formulated by Lenin before the Civil War had even ended. This policy is pretty much a no-go for anyone except for Bukharin, as it hurts your construction speed, boosts your consumer goods, which is absolutely no fun, and the only reasonable benefit is a boost to monthly population. And last but not least is the Tsarist Captives, which boosts the political power gain of the Russian Soviet Republic. To establish context, Tsar Nicholas II was executed and tried in 1923, but his son, Alexei, now the heir presumptive to the imperial throne, is held hostage, basically, in the summer palace of Peter the Great in Petrograd. He stands as a political prisoner, which the Russian state very much wants returned, and which the Russian Soviet Republic very much wishes to find an excuse to kill. So really it's up to the player to decide whether or not they will return the Tsar, should it be requested, or whether or not they may very well throw him down a flight of stairs. Alright, so that was our overview of the two new Russian teasers. We're hoping to put out a new teaser every week. I'm not so sure how often these videos will come out, but they'll likely accompany every big teaser. Hopefully you subscribe, like the video, and we'll produce something that is a little less shit in the future. Thank you very much.